All right, joining me now is Cyrus and Clare Lopez. They are both longtime friends. Clare has been at this desk doing a whole series on Hezbollah. That was excellent. She's been here also for several other events we've done with our friend Dr. Peter Pry. She was in some of my documentaries. She's done some excellent work over the years, writing papers on the Club K cargo system, the about $10 million system you could buy out of Russia, and the threats that poses to the country. Clare and I have worked on a lot of things together, and she's become a great friend over many years. Of course, we all know Annie. She's here regularly and has a show here. So what we're doing tonight is offering Clare and Annie an opportunity to talk about MEK, or to talk about the prince, the Shah's son. Now, as you guys know, this has been very controversial because there are some inside the America First movement, the conservative movement, the RNC, the GOP, whatever you want to say, that are supporting MEK. There are others that are not supporting MEK. You just saw the interview with the former MEK guy, and you can see why. Now, the issue for us is we like a lot of these people. We might disagree with them, but as Ronald Reagan said, someone that I agree with 80% of the time is not a 20% enemy. So what we want to do, and this is what we love doing here, is debates or sharing back and forth. So that's what we're doing tonight. And we're all friends. We've all respected each other and worked together for a lot of years. And sometimes we just have to agree to disagree. And yet the best thing we can do is, well, do what we like to do here, as I said, which is open it up, have a debate, share ideas, and let the public decide where they want to come down. So that's what we're going to do. So with that, let me welcome back Clare Lopez, former CIA operations officer, and again, someone we've worked with very closely over the years and appreciate so much. Clare, great to have you with us tonight.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be back with both of you.
And Clare, you're also a former Marine. You're a former CIA operations officer and a former Marine.
Well, I was almost a Marine. I should clarify just a bit. I completed officer candidate school for the Marine Corps at Quantico, but I had an application already pending previously with the agency.
Okay.
And what happened is that my offer letter from the agency actually arrived while I was at OCS. And so I completed the course, went into the captain before graduation, and said, I'm not going to go ahead with graduation because that includes taking the oath of service for, I think it was 3 years, and I wasn't going to do that now. And so I completed the course, but I did not graduate, and off I went to another career.
Well, I don't think I knew that part of the story, so I'm glad I asked. Annie, welcome back. Appreciate your being here as well.
Glad to be back. Great to see you, Clare.
You too.
All right, let's pick it up here. Let's give, we've heard a lot from Annie this week, so let's give Clare the first go at it. Clare, a lot of folks have heard about MEK this week from us. I'm not a fan of MEK from what I've heard. What do you say about MEK? And are you like somewhat of a supporter? Are you a full-fledged supporter? Are you a supporter with reservations? Where do you stand on MEK?
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me. And, the first thing I would say is that my priority is always going to be American national security interests first. And so I always look at these issues from that perspective first. And the reason that I have supported for more than 20 years now, actually the NCRI, the National Council of Resistance of Iran, that is the political umbrella group founded in 1981 in Iran that includes the Mujahideen-e-Khalq, MEK, as its largest and founding member of the NCRI. But the reason I support the NCRI is, as I said, first of all, that I have worked with them personally for more than 20 years. I have known them personally, worked with them personally. both here in the United States as well as over in France, in Paris, and other locations. And here's the reason why I support the NCRI from an America First perspective. And that is because their foundational principles match our own very closely. And I would recommend for our viewers to have a look at either the National Council of Resistance of Iran's own website, or else you can also go to the website of its president-elect, Maryam Rajavi. Either one of those two websites will take you to a description of their history, background, platform, policies, and how they envision an Iran after the fall of this current Islamic Republic of Iran oppressive theocratic regime. And what I would point to in particular, which gets my attention, are what's called the 10-point plan of Maryam Rajavi. This is a 10-point policy platform that was first published by the NCRI back in 2006. And I won't read through all of them, all 10. You can go to the website and find that. But here is what resonates for me. And the first thing, of course, is that the group aspires to establish a secular democratic republic to replace the Vilayet Faqih, the theocratic rule of the current Islamic Republic of Iran. That's number one. And then following points include support for positions for liberties that we would recognize immediately from our own foundational documents, the Bill of Rights in particular, the Constitution, and of course the Declaration of Independence. There is explicit support in the 10-point plan for freedom of belief, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly. All of those things we would recognize from our own First Amendment. And then a commitment to a non-nuclear Iran. I think that's incredibly important. A commitment to defense support for the ethnic group equality and liberties. The gender, the abolition, I should say, of the mullahs' gender horrific policies against women. So gender equality, universal suffrage based on free and fair elections, disbanding all the agencies that are in charge of censorship and inquisition. That would be the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, obviously, the subordinate units of the Quds Force and Basij. All of those would have to be abolished and replaced. So I won't go down through all the rest of the list, although we can if you'd like later. But those are the highlights for me. And then the reason why I would support the organization, the NCRI, is because they have not only set forth this platform of policy positions that go back now 20 years, founded, or I should say published in 2006 first, but also because they have established a transitional leadership council. I have sat at the table with those people in Paris. I have listened to them. They include at least one atheist that I remember, Baha'is, Christians, Jews, and Muslims, all on that leadership council. But that council is ready to take up the role of a transition period after this regime is no more. Now, between now and then is the part about getting rid of the regime. Well, how does that happen? That happens because of the role of the Mujahideen Khalq resistance forces on the ground inside of Iran, where they have been fighting and dying, getting arrested, tortured, and killed by this regime for coming on now 47 years. And it is that set of resistance forces inside of Iran that, for example, first alerted the public in the outside world to the existence of an Iranian regime nuclear weapons program. That happened back in 2002 with the revelation about Natanz, the enrichment facility, Kali electric plant. Others followed. Lavizan Shian, for example, Fardo, another enrichment plant. The one that, yes, Natanz and Fardo both hit by the Israeli Operation Rising Lion back in June of 25, and then by the United States Operation Midnight Hammer. So that role, working on the ground inside of Iran, in touch with the Iranian people for all of these 47 years of this regime, I think that gives credibility to the Mujahideen Khalq and the NCRI, and the fact that they are connected not only on the inside but with the Iranian people in the diaspora. As I've mentioned, the headquarters of the NCRI in Paris, where I've been, another headquarters established outside of Tirana in Albania a few years ago. So in touch on the inside with the people of Iran for 47 years and more. And then on the outside, connected all over the free world, many countries in Europe, the United States, in the diaspora, the Iranian people's diaspora. So those are the reasons why I think these make good partners for the United States and our national security as we look to how this regime currently in power might be removed. And what would replace it would be a completely different set of characters who would establish, as I've mentioned, the kind of a secular democratic republic that would end all support for the terrorist jihadist Islamic Jihad organizations in the Middle East. Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, the Hashd al-Shaabi in Iraq, all of that ends. This is to our benefit, American national security. This is the regime that brought us 9/11, organized, directed, and executed the attacks of 9/11. Not to mention other attacks against American forces all over these 47 years. It would bring a completely different set of relationships in the Middle East with our number one friend and ally, Israel, obviously, but as well with many of the other countries of the region, to include the Sunni countries of the Gulf Cooperation Council, of the Abraham Accords, and I think maybe most importantly, with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So let me stop there, and we can
Okay.
go on, and
Excellent.
let's hear from Annie next.
Thank you, Claire. Go ahead, Annie. Your introduction on all this.
Actually, is it okay if I don't have an introduction? I actually have a couple of questions for Claire.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So let me rephrase Brandon's question. We understand that you support the political umbrella of NCRI, but do you support MEK, Mujahideen Khalq?
Well, they're the leading member, the largest, best organized, oldest member of the NCRI.
No, I
So
understand, but my question is, do
in
you
its
support
entirety?
MEK?
Yes, in its entirety, yes.
Okay. So do you support MEK because you have forgiven them for being involved in killing U.S. soldiers, or do you think they have reformed their methods and they're not going to do it in the future?
Well, actually, in fact, if you're referring to the killing of Americans back in the 1970s, that wasn't the MEK at all. It couldn't possibly have been. And the reason it could not have been is that the entire top leadership and many hundreds of members of the MEK were already languishing in the Shah's jails. They were in prison. They had no possibility of engaging in such a killing of Americans, which they wouldn't do anyway, but they were in jail. They couldn't have done it.
So our Congress got it wrong, and MEK, new MEK people who admitted to it while being unlisted from our terrorist list also got it wrong.
But we know that
because this is recorded
leadership
on Congress that it was MEK involved for U.S.
Yes, yeah, definitely a mistake.
So Congress got it wrong. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So do you believe that Mujahideen Khalq, MEK, has never committed any act of terror?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay,
they have fought against the regime of the Islamic Republic for all of these 47 years, yes, but not against civilians. No, not as terrorists. And for that reason, precisely, both the MEK and the NCRI were removed from their mistaken listing previously on the United States Foreign Terrorist Organizations list after litigating that listing through the U.S. courts for many years.
Sorry to interrupt you, but that wasn't... No,
the courts ruled... I was just going to finish here. The courts ruled in 2012 that they did not belong on that list, and they were subsequently removed, both of them.
That is not what the Congress record or Department of Treasury says. They said they were involved with the killing of U.S. soldiers. They did commit other acts of terror. However, lobbying through Hillary Clinton, Rudy Giuliani, they rebranded themselves to NCRI. They have changed their methods. They're not doing that anymore. That's the record, at least. And I understand you're on the side of it was all a misunderstanding, and MEK has never committed an act of terror.
Correct. Yes, that's what I think. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And the American courts, of course, agreed with that in their ruling in 2012,
court was that?
Which is why the NCRI and Mujahideen Khalq MEK were both removed from the Foreign Terrorist Organizations list.
Which court was that?
The American courts.
Where do we find that document? Because we have the documents of Department of Treasury and Congress saying, as early as February of 2025, saying they are still concerned with MEK being unlisted. So where do we find the document of the court that says this was a mistake by U.S. government? They have never committed any act of terror, therefore they're being unlisted. So where do we find that?
The best place probably to start would be the website of the NCRI, the National Council of Resistance.
No, outside of their website.
There would be the documents from the courts. That's why I'm mentioning
documents of the court. Okay, I'll check that in a minute. So would you also refute that Masoud Rajavi, and the entire MEK joined Saddam Hussein, collaborating with him with intel information during Iran-Iraq war?
No, I wouldn't put it that way at all. Rather, after the Ayatollah Khomeini swept to power in 78, 79, the Shah fled with his family, and the mullahs took over. It was expected by many who had supported the Ayatollah Khomeini previously, expected that free and fair parliamentary majlis elections would follow. And so the leader at the time, Masoud Rajavi of the MEK, began to campaign, and he spoke to stadiums full of tens of thousands of Iranians to begin that campaign for parliament, for the majlis. However, what happened instead is that the Ayatollah Khomeini's regime quickly established the IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which took to the streets and literally mowed people down by the hundreds in the streets. At that point, the MEK realized what a blunder they'd made in supporting him, and I suppose the others did too, and they fled. The MEK fled Iran across the border, the closest border, which was across, and they found safe haven refuge in Iraq. It doesn't mean that they supported it doesn't mean that they supported I'm getting a message that the session has just ended.
No, you're still here. You're still here.
All right. Somehow that message is mistaken. I got a screen.
No, you're still here.
Okay, so they found safe haven refuge in Iraq, but that does not mean in any way, shape, or form that.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you short because hold on.
Of Iran, but rather
Claire,
that
1 second.
from Iraq, the MEK continued its attacks against the regime in Tehran, the regime of the Ayatollah Khomeini, because that was the enemy. They were not actually aligned with Saddam Hussein.
Maybe I'm just muted. Am I mute? Claire, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So I understand your talking points. Trust me, I have dealt with MEK for a long time. Let's put the talking point. We don't have to victimize MEK. MEK was not they're not victims. So let's put all the longest stories, just for the sake of time, that is. We can schedule it, I don't know, 2-3 hours later for sake of time. So you also dispute that Maryam Rajavi, Masoud Rajavi, and MEK were involved with any of Saddam Hussein military actions against Iran and Iranians during the 8 Years' War. You also dispute that.
As far as I know, they operated independently of Saddam Hussein's army, his military invasion of Iran, but rather launched from camps inside of Iraq their own attacks, separate attacks from Iraq across the border into Iran against the Khomeini regime. Okay,
perfect. So now, since you said that, you're referring to Forough Javidan. An actual military action taken by MEK, correct? The one that they somewhat got into.
Attacks.
Well, they're most famous.
There were multiple attacks, yes.
Okay. Military action, military operation, correct? Okay. So would you agree that supposedly they were going against the regime because Khomeini actually took away the fair election for all candidates, not just Maryam or Masoud Rajavi. But while doing so, they also killed innocent Iranians that had nothing to do with it? Or we're going to dispute that too?
In every kind of military action, there is all too often collateral damage.
No, the answer is a yes or no. No. My people weren't collateral. No, Claire, hold on. I'm not doing this, Claire.
The target of the attacks was never civilians. Claire, no. The target of the attacks was always
I know you can't hear me,
figures.
And I know you're pretending like you can't hear me. I don't need a backstory for MEK. I'm asking you straight answers, and you have not answered a single one of them. You just keep telling me stories that you have heard, and you finish them with, as far as I know. So how far do you know? Were you in Iran during Iran-Iraq war? No. I understand looking at this from America first. I completely understand that. But I don't think even myself as an American Iranian have the right to create narrative that there's no proof for. Now, everything we're saying, there are at least proof for. Logan, on the email you have, there is a picture of Masoud and Maryam Rajavi in their military uniform right before the Forough Javidan military action of them that ended up killing 600 civilians. And they were very aware. And for you to say, unfortunately, for any military attack, how do we say this is a military attack when MEK was just a rogue militia? They weren't a government. You're okay with a rogue militia who's upset with the regime to just militarily strike on citizens and then say this was a casualty? No, they were not a government. Hold on. They were not a government to strike any kind of military strike on Iran. They were under, and again, the proof for our audience, the proof for MEK, directly advising, counseling Saddam Hussein during 8 years' war is absolutely publicly available. From their handshakes to their meetings to the paperwork to the financial transitions between Saddam Hussein and Masoud Rajavi. These are literally public records. We refute that. They did not give Saddam Hussein any information, any intel for Saddam Hussein to come all the way to Bandar Abbas and Ahvaz. They did. They betrayed their own people. They got Iranians killed during 8 years' war because they were upset that they were fooled by Khomeini. That is no excuse for anyone to give a green light or a free pass to a Marxist Islamist group saying, well, they were just defending their right to a fair election.
Well, unfortunately, both Saddam Hussein and the MEK were fighting against the same illegitimate regime of the Ayatollah Khomeini. And they had the same enemy in that period of time. However, that was some 40-something 7 years ago. And I would say that in particular now, this organization of the MEK is neither Marxist nor Islamic in the same sense as the regime in Tehran is. Yes, when the MEK was founded by students back in the universities in Iran in the 1960s, some of those definitely were Marxists. But today, as we've seen over many years now, the commitment of the MEK is to a free market capitalist system, and they are no longer Marxist in any sense of the term whatsoever, and neither do they follow the same sort of beliefs, a Velayat Faqih system that the Ayatollah's regime does. As a matter of fact, there's a reason why the Tehran regime of the Islamic Republic calls them munafiqeen. Munafiqeen means hypocrites. In other words, they're not aligned with the way that the Khomeini regime imposes a theocratic dictatorship on the people of Iran.
So let me ask you this. If that is the case, why is Maryam Rajavi the president-elect since 1993? How come there has never been a free election inside MEK itself since 93?
Because they are aligned. They are all in agreement at that leadership council level and among the membership of the MEK. I know this because I've been with them for 20-something years.
So since 1993, there has not been one individual in that whole group that might have been a better brain, more intelligent, more powerful, better nobody that could have been better than Maryam Rajavi since 93.
Well, I mean, if there had been, they could find them for themselves. I'm sure they would have if they could have. Sure.
So they do, like every year or every 4 year or every 8 year, Maryam Rajavi announced like, hey, if anybody wants to run for my place and campaign, they're free to do so, but nobody shows up, right?
No, it's not like that. It's a very unified team, a very unified group organization with free and open discussion, including debate, including disagreement among them about what to do next, what should we follow, what policies. Very free and open discussion. I've seen it. I've been there in person. And so I think that it's a quite unified organization.
So let me actually ask you another question, because I have had you on my show many times where we discussed Islam, and you personally have expanded on the concept of taqiyya many times, correct?
I have. Yes, indeed.
Okay. So why are we so positive? Because Maryam Rajavi herself is a practicing Muslim, correct?
I believe most of them are, yes.
Okay.
Although, again, termed munafiqeen by the regime because they
Well,
do
here's the
not
thing. No. Wait. You
obey
can't
and
say
follow
No.
Islamic law.
That was a
They do
Mississippi.
not obey
Claire,
and
you
follow
cannot say
Sharia, as the regime
Islamic
would.
regime framed MEK, but then say if regime calls them munafiqeen, then that's the proof. Either whatever regime of Iran said about MEK is true, or none of it is true. If regime of Iran framed to make MEK look like a terrorist, therefore what regime thinks of MEK doesn't count as a proof of them being munafiqeen either, which, by the way, munafiqeen has nothing to do with your Muslim roots or not. Munafiqeen means those who create division and chaos. It doesn't mean non-believers, it doesn't mean kafirs, it doesn't mean infidel. Munafiqeen are those who create division and chaos. Even with that,
munafiqeen refers to hypocrisy, fitna, in other words, within Islam, as the regime in Tehran would see it.
Munafiqeen does not root in the word fitna. It doesn't. Munafiqeen literally
those are aligned terms. Those terms,
yes, but
organization are aligned together. They are called munafiqeen. They are called hypocrites because they create.
Right, but they're also called terrorists. But they're also called terrorists
because they do not follow Sharia. They do not follow Islamic law.
Mayim Rajavi follows Sharia
regime in
to the
Tehran
T.
does.
Mayim Rajavi and Masoud Rajavi, they both follow Sharia. Secondly, again, Islamic Iran has called MEK terrorist, munafiqeen, right? We don't get to cherry pick. It's either both applies or none applies. You can't rely on one source as one point that benefits the group and then overwrites their claim on the other side that doesn't benefit the group. Now, all that is irrelevant to what I asked. Is Maryam Rajavi a Muslim, a practicing Muslim?
She is a practicing Muslim who does not abide by the laws of Sharia. For example, in particular,
don't start the story. You answered the question. No. You're dragging the conversation to fit in the talking points.
Finish my sentence.
Because I asked you to not do talking points.
I'm trying to finish my sentence.
I'm not even talking Sharia. Did I ask Sharia?
Yes.
I just said no. I said that. Forget that wasn't my question. Why are you inserting your inserting your talking points?
So
you're inserting your talking points.
That Claire, they do not follow.
The question is, why do you think Muslims practice taqiyya, but when it comes to Maryam Rajavi, he doesn't?
If I could just finish my sentence.
I can't keep up with either one of you. You're talking over.
Well, because she keeps dragging talking points. She doesn't want to answer questions.
Okay. Let me ask it this way. Let me ask it this way. If she is not practicing Sharia, why is she wearing a hijab all the time?
That's the bare minimum.
Because that is their tradition. It absolutely is. But the part of Sharia that I think is most important for us to highlight here that they do not want any part of is jihad. They absolutely
Is that what they call themselves, mujahideen?
Absolutely and completely reject the practice, the pursuit of jihad as mandated in Islamic law. In Sharia.
let me ask you then.
That is hold on, one
second. Let me ask you. What is?
No.
What did you just say their name means, Annie? What does their name mean?
If they don't want jihad, why are they called mujahideen khalq?
That was their
jihadists.
Yes.
It still is on their own website. They have the mujahideen.
They have never changed the name. But they do not wage jihad against anyone and reject the concept of jihad.
Except Iranian
when they, in their foundational principles, reject any kind of support for Islamic jihad organizations like Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Hashd-e-Shabi, completely reject go to the website, you can see what I'm talking about, reject jihad in today's foundation, today, going back to 2006, the foundational principles of the group.
So they have reformed.
Absolutely changed in that way from the name the original
Okay.
name Mujahideen-e-Khalq.
Let me ask a
to an
question. I don't want to.
organization that does not wage jihad or support it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. It's not possible, but we say there is a scenario where it is possible. Maryam Rajabi is running for president, Senate, or Congress in America. She has your vote?
Well, no, she's not an American.
No, I did say it's not going to be possible, but if there was a scenario that she did have the qualifications, American citizen running for Senate or Congress, would you vote for her?
I have other candidates in mind that I have voted for.
I rest my case.
Again.
Go ahead, Brian. The floor is
So
yours.
what I would ask is, we had the man who was a fighter, a warrior with MEK for, I think it was 18 years, and his testimony is pretty damning for MEK, including, he says, traveling with some of their leaders, including their co-director down here to Arkansas. He pointed us to Human Rights Watch, and Human Rights Watch has quite a report on them about their abuses, and they're claiming elimination of people, including his father. When his father was in one of their camps, he'd been with them. I guess there was a disagreement. According to Human Rights Watch, his father was eliminated by them. What do you make of Human Rights Watch talking about abuse by this group, MEK?
All I can say is that in my 20 plus years working with the group, with the NCRI in particular, I have never, ever witnessed anything of the sort. I do not know this individual you interviewed a bit ago or his story. I do know that Human Rights Watch does get things wrong sometimes.
Okay. Well, here's the website. Here's the website if people want to go to it, hrw.org. If they just, type in Human Rights Watch and MEK, there are all the testimonials and the reports and everything. I guess one of my questions would be, why okay, let's say you don't want the prince, and some people don't want MEK. Why can't Americans not find a group that they can support and get behind that doesn't have the past that MEK does? It clearly has a past. I mean, they were on the terrorist organization watch list. Is there not some group better than MEK that conservatives can find to support?
Well, here's what I would say. After I place America first, I would also say that whatever form of government replaces the current regime, when that regime goes down, that must be left up to the Iranian people. We're Americans.
Well, to that point,
it is not for us to say whom the Iranian people might choose. And if they choose, to stand behind a unifying figure, perhaps like Reza Pahlavi, that would be the choice of the Iranian people. And it's up to them. It is not up to us.
Well, and to that point, Ray said you won't find grass support for MEK in Iran. That on the streets and in the grass support, you will not find support. People will not support them. They have no support. And it is actually Pahlavi that is rising in support there. So I don't understand why people keep then promoting MEK if they don't even have support among the people. That'd be number one. But number two, why will their people not come on and debate? Why does?
Well, they do. They're on air all the time.
Well, they won't come on with us.
If you're on social media,
No, they're not on air debating either. No, they go solo on other shows. There is not a single debate of Ali Musavi or Ali Reza Jafarzadeh or Maryam Rajabi for herself on any debates. They show up, they do their talking point, they go home. And if they do accept to come on certain networks like Brana's network, they hang up. They don't even show up.
We had the co-director scheduled today, and apparently, according to the guy in the control room, he had him in the Zoom meeting ready to go. And when our lower third came up, he saw Worldview Tube. He said he disconnected. Now, that's what our guy says. We sat and waited for him to come back into the Zoom meeting to do the interview, which was going to be with a guy, Colonel Manus, who's friendly to MEK. The only thing that maybe upset him was they heard we were going to have a former MEK, who I didn't know at the time, but now after the interview, Ray says, well, that guy knows me. I lived in the building with him. I traveled down to Arkansas with him. And if these guys knew that you were having me on, they would probably not be happy. I wouldn't be shocked they disconnected. So what I want to know is, why do MEK people not want to come on a network and do what we're doing tonight?
Well, I can't speak for anyone else besides myself, but what I will say is that the Islamic Republic of Iran's regime is really, really good at propaganda, information operations, and we should keep that in mind.
Okay, wait a minute.
And we should also keep in mind, I'm sorry, since we're talking about information for public, we should also be very aware that MEK has plenty of money to spend, and they have hired PR companies in America to run their propaganda. They have even taken ads on newspapers to promote themselves as these decent, good, misunderstood people. So as I posted on my Facebook today, we're fighting two propaganda machines, the Islamic Republic of Iran's regime and mullahs, and the MEK. Both are pushing propaganda.
Well, all I can say is that people, media, journalists, researchers, and individuals are going to have to do their own homework, as I have done, as we have done.
Yes, but could I point one thing out? Since you say, like, let's say if your readers were trusting you to give them your research and your information, your most recent article on Newsmax, on paragraph 17, you start by saying, and even though some Iranians are chanting for the return to Iran of Reza Pahlavi, son of the last Shah, who has not been back to Iran since he was 17, but instead made a successful business career in the United States since 1979, others are heard to insist no to Mullah, no to Shah, and instead are calling for a democratic republic in Iran. For his part, the Crown Prince has used social media to call the people into the streets and ask President Trump to intervene to help the people of Iran. Pahlavi has also declared he is prepared to return to the homeland so that at the time of our national revolution's victory, I can be beside you, the great nation of Iran. None of Iran opposition groups, however, has provided a policy blueprint in a future after the Islamic Republic has fallen, except the National Council of Resistance of Iran, NCRI. Under the leadership of Maryam Rajavi, the NCRI's president-elect, the NCRI first published in 2006 a 10-point plan that calls for, go on. Why would you say NCRI is the only opposition? You see, this is misinformation you're putting out, because there is the Phoenix Project.
Chat a link to any other organization's platform. We can look at
if
that.
You want to put it up, the Phoenix Project of Iran, that was published in 2018 and launched as a think tank in 2019, which was founded by Crown Prince Pahlavi, has 7 different departments of research. That is for the transitional 100-day plan after the fall of regime. And it's not just about copy-pasting Declaration of Human Rights and American Constitution. It actually has breakdown of logistics and management, economy, health and medicine, justice and security, foreign policy, and public relations and media. And some of the board members as followed. Dr. Armand, who is the president of coordinating committee. He's a veteran expert in energy system and international development. We have Dr. Farrokh Zandi, vice president, economist and a scholar with land leadership in trade and policy reform. We have Dr. Shima, treasurer and executive member, who's a public administration and international affairs professional. And list goes on and on and on. You see, Prince Pahlavi, here's the difference. Maryam Rajavi, everything. Like, guys, we do have the link to the 10-point plan of NCRI, if we could put that up, to make a very brief point there, because we just showed the Phoenix project. Maryam Rajavi, though, she's...
Project link, put the Phoenix project link up in the chat, too. We should have that there. Yeah.
By chat, you mean the Zoom chat for you, or you mean chat
well, for the audience? For the audience. Yeah.
Perfect. Yes. So Logan's working on it. And if you could put up the 20-point plan page, there you go. Go to the very top. Go up. There, a little bit more up. I'm not saying the top. There you go. Maryam Rajavi's 10-point plan for the future of Iran. The difference is Maryam Rajavi's this, and Maryam Rajavi's that, and Maryam Rajavi's blah, blah, blah. However, MEK gets to say, where has Crown Prince Pahlavi been? You know where he's been? He's been a team player, putting actual teams together instead of plastering his own crown all over the social media. There are projects, there are seminars, there are webinars, there are connections that are moving forward. Rob Manus admittedly today on his show said, I'll admit that the blueprint of Prince Pahlavi is superior to the 10 points of Maryam Rajavi. But we don't say that. And the reason I'm bringing that up is, Claire, we stayed up all night in Canada talking. I have the utmost respect for your research, for your clarity. When I read that article, I was disappointed that you would say they are the only opposition group and then go with 10 points is plenty. No, they are not the only opposition group. Prince Pahlavi has been working on this for a long time. First of all, he was 19.
Absolutely. Perhaps he was not something in an outlet that summarizes that Phoenix plan and get that published.
Oh, they have
more people can
English
see
website.
it. I think people are probably not aware of it, and by publishing, perhaps bring some attention to it.
Many are actually the traffic on, and by the way, since we're promoting it, the Phoenix project of Iran, when it started in 2018, the numbers were a handful. Today, when you look, they have created this network for all, not just Muslims, not just Shias, not just Iranians, for anyone with area of expertise like the list I read, to join this think tank to help a brighter Iran that will create a brighter world. If that is not teamwork, if that is not the true color of leadership, and again, I go back to what I've been saying, to be fair, if we're willing to accept a reform on just Maryam Rajavi herself, she has reform, she does not commit jihad, she wants to do a peaceful transition, why are we judging Reza Pahlavi on his father time of power? You guys aren't even giving him a chance.
I think we probably here are not judging him.
But here's your own words, Claire. Let's read. Even though some Iranians are chanting for the return to Iran of Reza Pahlavi, you even refuse to say Crown Prince Pahlavi because he's not to you, son of the last Shah, who has not been back to Iran since he was 17, but instead made a successful business career in the United States since 1979. That is not an unbiased introducing of a secondary opposition. First of all, I thought we like successful business people. Isn't that what we like, Trump?
Absolutely.
Isn't that
that's
a plus?
Why I highlighted it. Yes, that's why I highlighted it.
No, you did not highlight that.
Definitely.
No, now we're reading. The way you wrote, I'm reading your words by word. And here's the thing. You're going to say the Crown Prince Pahlavi, right? Every single talking point I have heard from MEK themselves and supporters of MEK is son of Shah, the torturer, murderer, dictator. Okay, you know what? Everybody's correct. Reza Pahlavi, late Shah of Iran, was the monster. What does that have to do with his son?
I never said that. I didn't.
No,
like that.
I'm talking about the group that you support. You put your full support behind MEK. So I'm asking you as a
support at all.
I'm asking you as a supporter of MEK, why haven't you contacted them and say, hey, why don't we not smear this guy on the name of his father? Don't you think that would be a fair?
Together. We do. We speak often together, but their public relations is up to them, not me.
Yeah, but you could make a suggestion. You're saying they're all about democracy, freedom, cooperation, teamwork. So you could just at least make a suggestion. There won't be a punishment in that. It's just, hey,
we speak
guys,
often together.
There you go. But that's the thing. He's been doing plenty. He didn't just, first of all, he was 19 when the revolution happened. He was born in 1960. The revolution was 79. But point is, he wasn't just in America making a business. He's done plenty. Plenty. To minimize him to 2 lines of, he hasn't been to Iran. And that's the thing. Maryam Rajavi hasn't been to Iran since they invaded few inches of our land in 89. It's not like she was in the middle of Tehran all day long. That, you see, these are the little journalism hints, and I'm a journalist. I pick them up. If we want to be honest, if this is about people of Iran and educating Americans, we should put the fair information instead of minimizing the man who was exiled.
You might want to do that. I would say you should.
I have been doing it. I have been doing it, Claire. I've been on it on 18
with all of
days.
that, your points in the article. Publish that.
I've done it. I've done it over and over. I have that's I never make suggestions that I haven't done myself, but I wanted to be very clear that the reason I was rattled is, again, comes back from the utmost respect I have for your work, for your clarity, for your detail, going into all the, when I read this, I'm like, Claire knows more than this about Reza Pahlavi.
Well,
when the rest of the
bottom line, again, the bottom line for us as Americans is American national security first.
Yes.
And then the rest must be up to the Iranian people. It's not up to us. We can opine. We can.
Oh, it is. It is up to us.
We can speak. But in the end, this really must be up to the Iranian people themselves to decide how they will establish their own leadership after this regime is gone.
But you know, and not you personally, you know how America operates. You've seen the color revolution and the 79 was a hijacked revolution itself, wasn't it? So we both know the chance of Iranian people standing a chance to pick their own leadership is very slim, especially if any help comes from America. They're not going to get that luxury. But I think at least they should get a fair argument from American people who do care for Iranian people's freedom to override everything. MEK has always been misunderstood. Human Rights Watch got them wrong. Congress got them wrong. Department of Treasury got it wrong. Iranians got them right. I think that's not, it's not even, to me, it's not even America's national security point of view. And again, if you're not willing to vote for someone in America, I don't know how we would promote them for another country to vote for. Because if you ask me, if Crown Prince Pahlavi, who's an American citizen, if he runs for Congress tomorrow, he absolutely has my vote. Not because of his last name, because of his 100-day policy out there that is impressive. Because of the video. Have you seen his video last night that he released talking to the world?
No, I have not had the chance yet.
Do you mind, Brannon, is there any way we can play the first minute of it for Claire to listen and your audience?
Yeah.
Well,
Logan, you got it? Logan's got it. We played it on radio today.
Okay.
So let's play this, and then we'll do a quick Clare Lopez respond, and we'll get ready to wrap. Again, it's a debate, MEK versus Pahlavi. And I just wish the leaders of the MEK would come on here. We tried to give them 30 minutes, but apparently the guy didn't want to stay on when he found out it was Worldview Tube, or I don't know why he left, but he didn't come back into the room. And I can't find, if anyone can correct me, I can't find one place where those guys are debating people. And
they don't debate.
So anyway, here we go. Watch this.
To all of our friends around the world, under the yoke of the Islamic Republic, Iran is identified in your minds with terrorism, extremism, and poverty. The real Iran is a different Iran, a beautiful, peace-loving, and flourishing Iran. It is the Iran that existed before the Islamic Republic, and it is the Iran that will rise again from its ashes the day the Islamic Republic falls. So let me be clear about how a free Iran will act towards its neighbors and the world after the fall of this regime. In security and foreign policy, Iran's nuclear military program will end. Support for terrorist groups will cease immediately. A free Iran will work with regional and global partners to confront terrorism, organized crime, drug trafficking, and extremist Islamism. Iran will act as a friend and a stabilizing force in the region, and it will be a responsible partner in global security. In diplomacy, relations with the United States will be normalized, and our friendship with America and her people will be restored. The State of Israel will be recognized immediately. We will pursue the expansion of the Abraham Accords into the Cyrus Accords, bringing together a free Iran, Israel, and the Arab world. A new chapter will begin, grounded in mutual recognition, sovereignty, and national interest.
There you go.
In energy, Iran holds some of the largest oil and gas reserves in the world. A free Iran will become a reliable energy supplier to the free world. Policymaking will be transparent. Iran's actions will be responsible. Prices will be predictable. In transparency and governance, Iran will adopt and enforce international standards. Money laundering will be confronted. Organized corruption will be dismantled. Public institutions will answer to the people. In the economy, Iran is one of the world's last great untapped markets. Our population is educated, modern, with a diaspora that connects it to the four corners of the world. A democratic Iran will open its economy to trade, investment, and innovation.
All right, we'll hold it right
and
there.
Iran
So
will
that's pretty
seek
good.
to invest
So
in
let me go ahead, Annie.
So I have personally not heard any statement written or on video from Mayim Rajavi ever saying that she's going to recognize Israel. That one I give credit. But my question is, Claire, now you have and I will personally email you the link to the Phoenix Project. When you read the Phoenix Project, are you willing to do another Newsmax article introducing a second blueprint for after the fall of regime?
Well, I will need to read through it first, which I'll do. Absolutely. Thanks for sending it to me. But, in conclusion, what I would say is that I have a great deal of confidence in the Iranian people. These are a great people with a magnificent civilizational history. And I have every confidence that they will make the right choices for themselves, for the Iranian people, for Iran. With some help from the outside, I think that's needed. But one way or another, this current regime of the Islamic Republic is going down. The days are numbered. And
Absolutely.
I trust and support the Iranian people in the choices I know they will make that are best for themselves.
So let me see if I can conclude.
I'm sorry, can I? So you didn't answer my question. So are you going to correct the record on your Newsmax saying they are the only one by saying, okay, they're not the only one. I may not even endorse the second group, but there is another group with a plan. That was my question.
I'm going to read it.
So I'm not asking for endorsement, Claire. Now you know your statement was incorrect. Are you going to correct your statement on your Newsmax article?
I'll read the article as soon as I can.
Okay, let me
I'll
ask
take
you,
that as a no.
Let me see if we can conclude on something we do agree on. Do we all agree that since President Trump went out there and said, if anyone is shot, they kill students, we will shoot back, we will be there, we're going to help. Do we all agree that if he's going to go out there and make these kind of statements, he really kind of needed to follow through? Do we all agree that America probably, we don't want to be the policeman of the world, we don't want to be involved in nation building, but this regime is funding terrorism all over the world. You've done a great job, Claire, documenting their involvement with 9/11. Don't we all agree that the world would be better off if we don't have this group, Iran, this regime, funding terrorism around the world, sending their terrorist proxies around the world, including in the U.S., and killing 12 to 20,000 young people? I mean, at this point, don't we have an obligation, since the president said he was going to do it in order to maintain credibility on the world stage, but also because it's the right thing to do at this point, to do something to help the young people, whether it's providing arms or providing technology and more weaponry to Israel. But at some point, this regime has got to go. Do we all agree on that, Claire?
Yeah, I think we absolutely must. And I certainly do agree that once now that President Trump has made promises repeatedly that he will come to the aid, to the help of the Iranian people, I think he needs to follow through. Now, we do not know what's going on behind the scenes, and I guarantee there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I'm willing to wait a few days to get pieces in place to see where that goes. But absolutely, I think that President Trump, it's incumbent upon him to follow through with his promise. Yes.
Closing comment from you, Annie.
I am a little concerned. I'm leaning toward I prefer him not delivering on his promise, for the fact that, as I said earlier on my show, on my Substack, from the look of it, years of MEK cashing in on the favors, I don't want U.S. helping, because their help is going to end up shoving MEK in Iran, which is going to create more bloodbath for my people. So at this point, I prefer him not delivering on his promise, because I think this time buying is for the preparation of the transitional government of MEK. That's my honest opinion.
All right, liveuptofreedom.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. And you, Claire, are at Lopez Liberty, right?
Well, I don't have a website, but I am on social media. You can find me at Twitter, Facebook, Truth Social, also Telegram, and I publish at many different places, including, of course, Newsmax. I also publish at the Citizens Commission on National Security, the Near East Center for Strategic Engagement, and of course, the United West at theunitedwest.org.
Thank you, both of you, for coming on. We appreciate it. We love this kind of debate. Our audience loves it, and we appreciate both of you guys. And of course, all of us have worked together, as I said at the beginning, for many years on many issues. And it's okay that we sometimes agree and sometimes don't agree. But like Ronald Reagan said, someone I agree with 80% of the time is not a 20% enemy. So it's great that we can debate these things and still work together on those areas that are crucial. So thank you guys for helping our audience understand what is a big debate right now in the conservative world. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon, for having us. And thanks, Annie, for joining in.
Thank you both of you.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, you guys love the debate format. We get a lot of great reviews when we do this kind of thing. So thank you guys so much for doing that. All right, that's our broadcast for tonight. If you appreciate all we're doing, we again appreciate your support. Worldviewfoundation.com and worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Roll the music. Call it a night, boys. A lot of you have ordered these. Tens of thousands of these have gone out. They're absolutely free. Business cards you can pass to your family and friends about the Worldview Tube network. Go to worldviewstore.com. You can order them. We'll send you a pack of 20 absolutely free of charge. Worldviewstore.com. Worldviewstore.com. And of course, we'll put all of this back up online tomorrow morning at worldviewtube.com for you to share and watch again. May God save America. Take care.